Alrighty, so I will be discussing a show that I wish I did earlier when the second season happened, which is called The Boys. And this is shaping up to be one of my favorite shows that I've seen in a long time, with every season, and so far this one being wilder and even more bizarre than the previous one. I just want to say that this is not a kids' show, even though there are superheroes, which are referred to as soups, so please don't show this to your kids. Alright, so this show picks up, I believe, a year after the incidents of the end of the last season, with Stormfront being revealed to be about 100 years old and also a Nazi. Uh, Ryan, which is Homelander's son that he had after he raped Butcher's wife or fiance, or whatever it was. Ryan is also a soup and burns Stormfront with his laser eyes, but ends up accidentally hitting his mother and killing her. Okay, so now getting to the actual season, one of our main characters named William Butcher, nicknamed just Butcher, is now working with the FBI to keep an eye out on any soups that cause trouble, and he finds himself one. This scene, no joke, is like in the first 5 minutes of the show, and it's a guy who can shrink like Ant-Man. I don't really want to get into detail, but he goes into another guy and explodes him from the inside out. This show has a lot of weird kills and moments that made me just die laughing or weirded me out because this show doesn't hold back and can get pretty graphic. Anyways, Butcher ends up defeating him by trapping him in a baggie of coke and having him OD and not killing him like he used to with other soups because now he works with the FBI and he can't be doing things like that anymore. Huey, who is another one of our main characters, is in a love relationship with a soup named Starlight that works at Seven Tower, which is like the version of Avengers Tower. He works with a woman named Victoria Newman, aka Nadia, who is a congresswoman who is looking to run and expose Vought and the soups just like Huey. Now to Homelander, who honestly deserves an award for his acting. I would probably say between him and Butcher, they are my favorite characters of the show. I'm going to try to speedrun these recaps and talk about what I like so far of the show and don't, and what I think the final episodes will be. So Homelander, which is basically the combination of Captain America's beliefs and Superman's powers without the kryptonite, is getting more insane by each passing day and bosses a lot of people around and even threatens to kill or torture people. For instance, this one scene where he has one of his old teammates who is like Aquaman and has him, his name is The Deep, by the way, eat seafood and eat a friend of his, which is a squid, and he makes him eat the squid alive. It is one of the most disturbing scenes I've ever witnessed. I didn't even want to watch it. It was that bad. So Starlight gets co-captain instead of Homelander, which makes her make the decisions for the Seven, and this makes Homelander more unstable and more tension and hatred between Stan Edgar, which is like Vault's president or director or whatever you want to call it, but the only person Homelander fears is Stan because Stan just isn't afraid of him and doesn't give two craps about what Homelander thinks. Stormlight is still alive, surprise, surprise, and looks like a half-baked potato. Maeve, which is like the Wonder Woman of the Seven, gives Butcher Compound V, which is a liquid that gives people powers, but this version of Compound V is green and lasts only 24 hours. The congresswoman that Huey works for, Victoria Newman, is actually a soup, and she kills someone in an alley without knowledge that Huey saw this happen. The main plot of the show so far is this group that consists of Butcher, Huey, a soup that is mute, and others that I will explain later perhaps. Their main goal is to kill Homelander, and they are tracking down evidence to find out what they can about how a certain soup named Soldier Boy died, because he, just like Homelander, is supposed to be invincible. Homelander is still a D-word. His whole deal this season so far is that he wants everyone to do what he wants and wants to be in charge of Vought. A-Train is another character who isn't that much present in this season so far compared to the last season, and he wants to rebrand and get in touch with the black community because he is supposed to be the fastest man alive, but he has heart problems and isn't very fast anymore, so he wants to stay relevant by trying to appeal to the black community. Butcher goes off on a lead to meet Gunpowder, who was Soldier Boy's sidekick, and again, the whole plot is the gang wants to find out how to kill Homelander or what happened to Soldier Boy. pretty much just about everyone wants to kill Homelander but doesn't know how. Homelander has this shocking scene where he is saving a girl from jumping off a building only to find out his lover, Stormfront, has committed suicide and now forces the girl to jump off the building. Homelander is a horrible guy, by the way. Like, oh my god. After Butcher takes the temporary Compound V, he sliced gunpowder in a parking lot with his new laser eye powers, which look amazing. Homelander also does a speech that is originally supposed to be for his birthday, but he goes on about how he's controlled and that he's done apologizing and how Vought is corrupt. The speech actually the speech actually gets more people to like Homelander and how he's being himself, and this surprises him and me. Supersonic is also another character that is being introduced and is actually one of a couple characters in this show who's generally a nice person. Butcher and the gang visit an old friend, and she gives the backstory on her first meeting Soldier Boy. In this it was like this secret operation in the 1980s, and she explains that his body was carried out by commies in a helicopter. Homelander once again is going insane mode and tells Starlight that he is in charge and that he won't hesitate to destroy the White House and Pentagon and etc., explaining that social status doesn't matter that much to him anymore, which used to be his main goal in life, to be as popular as possible. But as of late, he's been mentally insane and frightening. Butcher and Ryan, who where am I? Oh, Butcher and Ryan, who again is Homelander's son, is mad at Butcher because Butcher doesn't really love him and blames him for killing his mom. The only other thing I can add before I talk about episode 4 is how at the end of this episode, Starlight kisses Homelander, even though she hates him, which is her way of trying to tame Homelander because she knows Homelander is insane and will kill people if he gets mad. A-Train does a funny scene where they pretty much parody Kendall Jenner's Pepsi commercial about joining the movement and other nonsense, which is hilarious. It makes this show so enjoyable. Starlight is telling pretty much everyone that she has a plan to kill Homelander, and I mean almost everyone in the Vault Tower. A-Train and the Deep get in a fight, and this proves that the Deep is a suck-up to Homelander and is probably very afraid of Homelander and what he can do. Kamiko, which is the soup that is working with Butcher and Huey, kills people. Kamiko is also the mute one, by the way. Kills people with objects that I don't want to explain, but the scene was hilarious, and definitely this season so far is more messed up than the previous one, which I thought was impossible. Victoria Newman betrays Stan and tells the public that him and Vought are the real problem, not Homelander. And she did this because Homelander threatened to kill her entire family. So Homelander is definitely now in control of whatever he wants and physically cannot be stopped. Butcher and Huey and the rest of the crew are in Russia, and their crew finds out that Huey and Butcher have taken the temporary Compound V and start going ham on some commies. Oh, and yeah, they also find a hamster that has powers as well, not to mention. This scene with the hamster, killing this guy was so weird. They open a door to a container and find Soldier Boy not dead but alive and breathing, and he frees himself and escapes. Now to finally end this review, Homelander just demolishes Supersonic, which is the new member of the Seven, and shows Starlight and tells her not to get out of line again, and he reveals that he knew her plan to kill him, and that's pretty much the ending of the season so far. So I predict that Soldier Boy is the deterrent for Homelander, and that Homelander might finally come close to dying. Also, Ryan might finally fight Homelander or someone this season, but who knows. I don't have much to complain about this season so far. This seems to be the best season out of the others, but my one gripe is I want more Black Noir. I like his character so much, and we've barely gotten anything out of him so far. Like, I really don't know why they just... I mean, we as an audience haven't really seen him this much this season, so I absolutely love his character. So, anyways. But that's about it. I would rate this season. I wouldn't, rate this season, but so far I'm going to give it a 9. I do believe that Homelander is the final boss. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe, and goodbye.